You're listening to the best local sports show. Boots, Bats and Balls on Six Towns Radio.
Welcome to a Premier League football player that needs no introduction. He is recognisable all over the world. Morning, Rory, how are you?
Not bad, mate. How are you?
Fantastic, thank you, fantastic. How's the close season been for you so far?
It's been good. You know, had a couple of weeks not doing a lot really, just chilling out at home, and then went away for a couple of weeks with the family, and you know, started about 2 weeks ago now, just doing little bits to get back into it, and sort of going quite hard at it now every other day, sort of, until we've got just under 2 weeks before we're back now, so looking forward to it.
So the hard work started already, has it?
Yeah, you've got to you've got to come back fit for the gaffer, because you know, it's full on from the first day we go back, so yeah, you've got to be prepared for that.
Have you been helping out the missus while she's been ready to do a challenge? Is it the Picos challenge she's doing in Spain?
Yeah, she's doing this Picos, which is 3 peaks really in Spain, the end of this month, for the Donna, Louise, and yeah, I've been out walking the dog with her for a bit, but to be honest, I think walking harder than running, so I've been finding it pretty tough, to be honest, but she's doing well, and you know, she'll be fine. I think it's going to be quite hard for her, but you know, again, it's for a great cause, and hopefully she'll raise a bit of money. Yeah,
and if you do want to donate to that, I think the website is justgiving.com, Helen Delap Picos challenge, and if you Google that and Google Helen Delap and Picos, which is Trespicos, you'll find that, and she's doing pretty well on that, Rory. I had a quick look last night. I think she's more than trebled her initial target.
Yeah, she's to be honest, she's done quite a lot. She's had a ladies' luncheon, she's had a sort of fashion and makeup and all that kind of evening, and you know, she's done really well. So yeah, hopefully, if, you know, there's a few people can have a look on there, and you know, as everyone always says, every little counts, and no matter how much it is, you know, it all goes to help the Donna, Louise.
Okay. I also hear you've been playing tennis against her. You had your little Wimbledon challenge, and yeah, and you're the Delap Household champion, aren't you, mate?
I am at the moment. Yeah, she's the balls and racquetball expert. She was, I think, she was quite big into squash and tennis.
Yeah.
When she was younger, so you know, it's a few years since I played her, and she used to beat me all the time, so I don't know if she's getting worse or I'm getting better, but I've managed to win the last couple.
Well, I think she said you're either on fire or rubbish, and she didn't get the rubbish, Rory, this time.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. My first serve was about 118, my second serve's 10, so that tells you a lot.
Okay, getting back to just a little bit more fun, mate. I also hear you're out doing a bit of karaoke in Portugal, is that right?
I found that
out. Singing Oasis songs. Which Oasis song did you have?
Don't Look Back in Anger. It was. We came out of a restaurant and met Ricardo Fuller, and he had about 12 of his family and friends over with him. So we just went for a couple of beers with them in this karaoke bar, and his little lad Freddie got up on his own. He's just turned 3 actually, so he got up and sang Delilah on his own up in the karaoke bar.
Fantastic.
That was brilliant, but you know, I'm sat there enjoying the beer, and heard next up we've got Rory. Rory about it, I thought, oh no. So I was trying to hide, but I got caught. I thought, you've got to give it a go, haven't you? So I don't think I'll be entering X Factor though, to be honest.
No. Liam hasn't got much of a threat, has he?
No, not at all.
I don't suppose Ryan got up, did he?
He didn't. No, he's an old man, isn't he? He's not into any of that fun stuff. He just sits there and half an ale, and if he could have a pipe and a flat cap and a greyhound beside him, that'd be his ideal night, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he likes to think he can defend with pipe and slippers on, mate. But yeah. Okay, going back to the Euros, have you been watching those?
I've been watching, a good bit of it. The amount that's been on, it's hard to watch them all, but I've been watching it, and it started off a bit slowly, to be honest, but it seems to be kicking off now, and before the tournament, I sort of said Germany, and that's looking good, but I really do think England have got a good chance of, I think they meet Germany if they get through.
Yeah.
Against the Italians, so it'll be tough, but they look solid and hard to beat, and they're never going to score 3, 4 or 5 goals, I don't think, but I think it could surprise a few people.
Stevie Gerrard has that look in his eye, you know what I mean? He seems to be leading by example with the England team.
Yeah, no, I think he's pulled it out again, and he's a great player, and obviously he's had his injury problems, but he looks back to his best, and with him in the team, he can win games on his own. He's obviously with Rooney back now, it does look awful, but to be honest, I think from the expectations of all the tournament, they've exceeded them already, so you never know.
Yeah, I think that was my prediction. I'd be happy if they got to the quarters, and if they're anywhere beyond that, it's exceeded my expectations already, I think. Pundits, what are you thinking of the pundits?
There's enough of them, isn't there?
There is.
I'm a bit offended I didn't get a phone call, to be honest, but they've had that many on. But I think Carragher's been really good. Obviously, Keane likes to upset a few people, and he seems to have done that again. But to be honest, he's very good at what he says, and the majority of it is up there. But I just think sometimes he does go a little bit far.
Yeah, does he ever praise anyone?
Sorry?
Does he ever praise anyone, Roy Keane?
I think he does in a roundabout way. I think you've got to look between the lines, I think, and very thin lines. But no, you get the odd. I don't think he'd ever go over the top on anyone to praise them, but that's what he is, and he's done very well as a player out of it, and doing very well on the TV out of it now, because he's seems to be on every channel.
Yeah, certainly. Is that something you ever fancy doing, Rory? Punditry?
To be honest, I can't see it, to be honest. As you probably hear, I'm not great with interviews anyway.
You're fine.
It's just something that's never appealed to me, to be honest. But you can never say never, can you? But
no.
It's something that doesn't appeal to me, no.
Yeah, I know Danny's done a little bit of the punditry, hasn't he? Danny Higginbotham.
Yeah. He's how he's got with his face, but he's on the radio. He's actually quite good for the for the amount of time I've known him and the amount of players I've played with. He'd have been in the bottom 10 for going on TV and actually stringing a sentence together, to be honest. He comes across very well, and I think he's starting to get offered quite a bit of work through it now, and he enjoys it, so hopefully he can, he's got a few years left playing, but I think that's something that he'd look to do after when he finishes, and he's one of the better ones I've seen on TV.
Yeah, he had quite a bit of fun at the BBC's 5 Live Big Day Out. We went down to that, and that was he was part of the team there, and he held his own there, mate, to be honest.
Yeah. I spoke to I think it was about the week after he'd done it, and he said it was a good laugh and he enjoyed it. And he said, but he had to defend a few things off, so he's learning. But no, he thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think his 2 words to say to Tony Pulis was "pick me." Robert Huth, he's re-signed for Stoke. Dennis Smith has said that him and Ryan can become a classic centre-half for many years to come. That must give the dressing room some confidence getting into the next season.
Yeah, definitely. You've seen the last couple of years, the awards he's picked up at the end of the season, and rightly so. For me, since he's been at the club, he's been the most consistent player, along with Ryan, I would say. Those two are, I think they're one of the best centre-half partnerships in the Premier League, to be honest. I think it wasn't only the fans that were a bit worried. I think, deep down, all the players were, but deep down I think everyone was a little bit worried because, a player of Huth's quality is always going to attract attention. For him to commit to the club for the next few years is great.
Talking of signings, Tony said he consults senior players about signings. Is that the case, or is that something he's leading us down the garden path with?
He's asked a number of us. It's usually if we know the player, to be honest.
Yeah.
In that way, I don't know whether it makes any difference or not, but it's something that he's always done, and he's always looked into players. I know he asked Danny and Scout, who was at the club at the time, and a few other people about me when I signed, and I think that's why he gets it right more often than not, because he does look in depth at people. But I think, to be honest, I think the bigger players that he'll obviously be looking at now. It's a case of pretty much knows what they can do on a pitch. It's just again finding out if they're going to mix well in the dressing room. And as I say, the last few big ones he's made is Couchy and Cameron and people like that. They've integrated straight into the dressing room, and you've seen that on the pitch.
Well, I think that's a real important thing about Stoke, is that spirit that is in the dressing room, and as long as that remains, I think we'll remain in the Premier League. I mean, it's 5 years, Rory, this year. Did you think, back in May 2008, that we'd still be in 5 years' time?
To be honest, yeah. I knew it was going to be tough. That first season, especially because we knew it was going to be so hard. To be honest, I'm not saying out against it, but to attract big players to Stoke wasn't going to happen. And obviously, both the financial, for honest, we were everyone's favourite to go straight back down. And that first result at Bolton didn't help. But again, within the dressing room, we were confident we could do it. We managed to, and we've steadily increased the name of Stoke, and we're starting to be able to sign bigger and better players. And it is going to cost more money, both to buy them and in wages and things. But it's on the increase, and it's all fair and well, doing a Man City who've got billions and they can bust, it was near enough overnight. They got the money, but somewhere like Stoke, you've got to do it slow and steady, and I think everyone's got it right so far. I think there'll be quite a few people surprised that we're still there, but I don't think anyone realises how desperate and disappointed we were, that we couldn't progress both position and points from the last couple of seasons, and we give ourselves a great chance to do it, and we just couldn't convert them into wins. There was too many draws there towards the end of the season. Just
in terms of pre-season, no Austria this year, but you've got America. Is that something you're looking forward to?
Hopefully it's not as hilly as Austria, so I won't miss that hill. I know. But it'd be great for, to be honest, just for a change of scenery and to go and see somewhere new. Austria was great, but it is knowing enough what runs you're going to be doing, and it was always a bit nerve-wracking, to be honest. But it's going to be new, and hopefully it'll progress us on. I'm sure he'll find facilities over there to give us a hard time.
He'll find some mountains in America, don't worry.
I'm sure there's somewhere over there.
yeah. Just promoted teams into the Premier League this year. I mean, your old club Southampton have been promoted. I know you've got fond memories of Southampton, and they've also signed a Burnley player, Jay Rodriguez, for 4 years. £7 million it cost them. Do you know who their previous record signing was?
I don't know. Some handsome fella with a decent throw.
I think it was about £4 million back then, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah, it was, yeah. But no, it's great. I was chuffed that they managed to do it. I thought towards the end of the season they might have, blown a gasket, but the stage strong had a little slip up there and let Reading in to take the championship. But it's all fair and well winning the championship. But you just desperately want to get up by avoiding the playoffs. After they've been at the top for so long, and I was chuffed to manage to do that.
So, what do you think of the three promoted sides? West Ham, what are your thoughts on them?
To be honest, I think they're all going to be strong. I think financially, I think Southampton and West Ham are going to throw a bit of money in. Obviously, with Southampton spending that much already, that's a sign of what's to come, I think. And I think Reading will be more steady like we were, and hopefully not look to break the bank. Get some couple of young lads in, and they need a few more experience, I think. But it's going to be very tough because, again, barring the top 4 or 5 teams, really, it really is much of a muchness for the other 15 teams in the league. Again, anyone can beat anyone, and it's just who's the most consistent.
They seem to be taking on that Stoke model of getting a couple of decent ex-Premier League players into the squad. They've signed Reading have signed the Fulham forward, haven't they? Changes at Stoke next season. No Rick next season. I think he's been let go. What are your thoughts on that, Rory? Will he be a big miss?
It's sad. Rick's rightly so a legend at the club, and for what he's done over the last 6-7 years now, and Rick's one of those players that he's unplayable on his day, and he took a bad injury when he did his Achilles there, and he's to be honest, until the last sort of 2 or 3 months of the season, he never looked back to the old Rick. But I was talking to him in a couple of games that he did play, back in training, even if he's back to doing what Rick does, and I don't think Rick will have a problem finding another club if it comes to that. I'd rather him on our team than against us, to be honest. And I just wish him. I was at Rick with Southampton with Rick, so I've known him a long time now, and he's just he's a great lad. Football is a great lad, and a good laugh in the dressing room. And I just hope he buys a watch for wherever he goes next.
Infamous for being late, isn't he? Infamous. Just so, talking about long-term futures, Rory, I mean, you played a little bit less last year, it's fair to say.
Yep.
What's your long-term future? Is it coaching? Do you see yourself sticking around Stoke? Do you see yourself going back to Carlisle? What do you think?
I'll see what happens, to be honest. I've signed another year, and I'm delighted with that, but I still feel I can play. If it's not a Premier League level, or if it's not at Stoke, or what I'll have to see. But I'm going to go back and give it my all to try and get fit and try and get in the team. And it's the same. To be honest, it's the same as the last couple of years. I've gone into the pre-season not really expecting to play, if I'm honest, and I managed to start the last couple of seasons. I think the form of myself and the form of the rest of the midfield, I wasn't, and rightly so, wasn't first choice for the midfield last year, and it's one of those days that's got to come to us all. That I'm not kidding anyone. I'm not getting any younger, and but I've always said I don't mind what level I'm playing at, but I just want to play as many games as I can before I come to think about what I do after. But coaching's definitely a part of it. I've started my badges, I've completed one, and I just couldn't get on a course to do the other one in the summer. They were all full, so
yeah.
Hopefully you can start it this year and finish it next summer. But it's just take each month or two at a time and see what happens, and see if I can get in the team here, or if I'm involved, or I'll see what happens, and you've got to take it sort of as it comes, really. And but I'm desperate, and I still feel like I'm fit enough to be playing football, but I'll see what level that's at.
Someone told me that you're still pulling the same times out of the bag in terms of the bleep tests and things like that as the day you signed. Is that still the case?
Yeah. It is. I'm as fit as I was, to be honest, probably fitter than when I came to the club. It's just, you notice little things like, in training or in games that, you get into a wall, you think you get into a wall, and then, someone nicks it off you, and it gets frustrating.
Yeah.
And, you're bound to lose at, half a yard, which is, but, you look at other players, and I'm not saying I'm in the same class as them, but people like Paul Scholes, who's adapted his game, you've got to look to adapt your game. He's obviously a world-class player, but I think, whatever level you're at, if it's Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two, play adapt the games, and I'm going to have to do that myself.
So you see yourself as a fairly old school player who'll probably drop down the leagues. Is that something you see doing, or does it depend on opportunities?
That doesn't bother me, because I love my time at Carlisle. I know I was at the other end of the scale when I was coming through at Carlisle, but I love the time there, and I'm not saying they're a hell of a lot easier leagues to play in, but I think you just do get a little bit more time the more you drop down the leagues. That's something I don't mind looking at, and I've said since I was young, I want to play football because you're a long time retired, and every ex-pro I've spoken to who has retired, they all feel that they probably had a little bit left in the tank, and I don't want to be like that, to be honest.
Yeah, certainly. Rory, really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Boots, Bats and Balls. And
no bother, mate.
If you want to start singing along to this song,
you'll have no listen.
Feel free. Thanks for joining us, mate. Really appreciate it. And
right, good luck.
Speak soon.
Broadcasting to Stoke-on-Trent
and the world. This is Six Towns Radio.